Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is HD.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pain User.
Indeed. Wow, Pain, you must have got a little voice change over there. This is going to make this cast surely exciting. We have RSVP versus aTnDarKFoRcE. This is game number 3. And this is going to be the conclusion of the series between aTnDarKFoRcE and RSVP. So far, a pretty good series, and it's going to be on Metalopolis.
We are indeed going to the rubber match, and we are going to have, aTnDarKFoRcE losing that last game in a fashion that wasn't really expected. It was kind of just a walkover for RSVP.
I mean, what the hell happened?
I mean, aTnDarKFoRcE was droning. He took a pretty considerable amount of damage from those phoenixes. So, he probably was trying to overcompensate for that by droning up real hard and getting back in the game that way. But one thing he certainly wasn't anticipating was that super quick warp gate push that came after the phoenixes. And, RSVP hit his timing and aTnDarKFoRcE was not ready for it.
I wonder if RSVP just cut probes and decided, you know what, instead of attacking when my +1 armor is almost finishing, I'm going to attack while +1 armor is starting to begin. And I think he might have cut probes to make that attack happen, because that was surely a very large army on the ground, and it's not expected when you see 4 phoenixes in the air harassing you.
Yeah, that was a really large army on the ground. Definitely 4 gate worth of units at the minimum.
Yeah.
And just a couple, 3 or 4 cycles worth of units. Probably threw in some chrono boost there on the gateways and just was able to clinch that one. So going into game 3 here, aTnDarKFoRcE probably looked to see him build a little bit more units through the mid and the early late game here. And wow, RSVP going for that Nexus first once again.
Yeah.
I would have loved it if aTnDarKFoRcE had dropped, like a really early 8 pool or something like that in one of these games. I mean, he's done it 2 times in a row. Now he's done it a 3rd time in a row. So, maybe RSVP has the timings down really well, and he's super well versed in holding rushes with the Nexus first, because you can do it. I've seen people hold off rushes and things of that nature, but it's really, really difficult. Your probe micro has to be excellent, and you have to really know what's going on.
Now, against a 6 pool, do you think that could be held?
Maybe. It depends on how lucky you are and how good you are with the probes, and whether or not you can get a cannon up after the forge goes down. If you lose too many probes and you can't get that cannon up, then it's obviously not going to go too well.
Well, there you guys have it. If you guys ever want to be really, really bold, go Nexus first against Zerg. So we have aTnDarKFoRcE coming out here with 4 Zerglings. Once again, he picks off the scouting probe. Interestingly, he is not going to commit to Zerglings or any kind of all-out aggression once again. He's going to be going with the 21 hatchery. And like you said, I wonder why aTnDarKFoRcE isn't changing up his strategy, just so to say. Like, he could have early pooled. He could right now theoretically pump a lot of Zerglings, and when his speed hits in, he could try to sneak on by the Nexus. Remember, this early on, the Zerglings can leak right behind these minerals and get into the ramp because RSVP just doesn't have any sentries. He doesn't have any way to really block the Zerglings except for his probes. So I don't know. I guess aTnDarKFoRcE once again is going to go for that 3rd hatch, and he's going to try to play a macro game though.
Yeah, it looks like that is what he's going to try and do. Probably not going to get that 3rd hatch as quickly as we've seen him in the previous 2 games. I actually really like RSVP's building placement here. He has that cannon just tucked away at his natural so well. Yeah. It's very nice placement, but it could get attacked by roaches, and that's one thing I would have loved to have seen out of aTnDarKFoRcE as well, is an aggressive roach ling all-in. How many lings? He's not producing anymore, so this is what went back to what we said earlier. He was going to build several. Oh my goodness, look at the probe count. Yeah,
the probe count right now is much higher than the Zergling, or than the Zerg, and the reason for that is aTnDarKFoRcE actually producing about double the number of Zerglings he did in the games 1 and 2, and he actually killed off the scouting probe inside his main and kept the Zerglings away. So right now RSVP has no idea this many Zerglings are coming in, and I love this play by aTnDarKFoRcE. He is going to be aggressive this time around. He's going to try to punish a Protoss. He's found an opening, but RSVP right away gets his probes to surround, but he is going to lose a lot of them as the Zerglings are allowed to run inside, and this is going to even out that probe count very, very much in the Zerg's favor.
Yeah, not necessarily in his favor, but it's certainly going to even it out. We're at 26-29 right now. aTnDarKFoRcE still down a little bit. I don't think that he's going to kill any more here. He might be able to if he gets lucky, and RSVP's not paying attention. Yeah, it looks like he's going to get... Ooh. I thought he was going to get one of those right there. But he is now taking his 3rd, and Yeah, definitely managed to equalize things out a little bit. I mean, he had to do some damage right there with those lings, or he would have just been so far behind. So well played by him, able to do quite a bit of damage. So I'm pretty happy about that.
I like that play. Like I said before, darkFoRcE needs to adapt his play style. The Protoss has done the same thing time and time again, and this time around he was able to apply pressure, and I love it. And once again, he gets that Overlord Scout at the right time to see the Stargate, man. This guy's on top of every single angle and corner.
Yeah, he's got his timing windows for scouting down real well. You'll see that a lot from really talented Zerg players. They'll send their Overlord just in at the perfect timing to catch specific tech transitions that are really important for them to win the game. They need to know that starport is coming, or Stargate is coming rather. They need to know that those 5-6 gates are coming. I mean, all these things are so important as a Zerg player because you can't prepare properly unless you know exactly what's coming. So very good job by darkFoRcE. And darkFoRcE actually about to sneak some more lings into the main, probably trying to get a full scout off. Looks like he's actually going to go after that sentry now. I don't know if I agree with that, but probably too busy doing other things. Doesn't really have time to sit around and micro 3 Zerglings at the natural. And now we are almost dead even on our harvester count. RSVP is actually down 3 at this point. However, he does have the double chrono boost. He is Protoss, so he should naturally not have quite as many, probes as darkFoRcE would have drones. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But now we do have this first Phoenix coming in for the scout. He doesn't have any other Phoenixes, so obviously not going to be able to pick anything up or do any damage, but going to get an idea of how many gases darkFoRcE is working off, when he took those gases, layer tech timing, things of that nature. So this Phoenix probably getting a lot of valuable scouting info.
Yeah, but the difference here from games 1 and 2, Payne, is that these Phoenixes are not going to be able to do any damage because the Spore Crawlers have went up preemptively, and that's because darkFoRcE scouted with the brilliant Overlord, and due to that scouting information, he's been able to erect these Spore Crawlers, and as it stands, these Phoenix are not going to be able to do as much damage, which means we have a pretty darn good game on our hands. I don't think it's going to end to any kind of an early Warp Gate push. And it's just going to be a macro game from here on out. Well, I mean, he could die to a Warp Gate push, I guess. I mean, there are a lot of Warp Gates in here.
There are 5 Warp Gates ready to go, but I think the timing this game is going to be much later from coLrsvp. He's not going to surprise darkFoRcE the way he did in the previous game.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I think darkFoRcE is just much more ready for it. He also has that pack of lings waiting outside of RSVP's main. In the event that RSVP heads out anywhere, he will be able to engage him with those lings and at the very least delay him. And then he's also kept control over both his Naga towers this game for a majority of the game.
Absolutely right, Payne user. darkFoRcE now has a Hydralisk Den coming down. In fact, it just now finished. So Hydras can theoretically come out in one cycle to deal with any kind of a mass Warp Gate push. RSVP once again pushing out as his armor is starting to begin. This time, though, his forces are much smaller than the last time, and if we look at the army tab, they're both right about even. darkFoRcE trying to get his Zerglings in here, isn't really able to do much. And dun 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 dun, we have the Warp Gate push.
Here it comes, headed over to the third right now is the Warp Gate push. Actually very similar size to the push we saw last game, but this game, darkFoRcE 100% on top of things, dropping 4 Spine Crawlers immediately. Does have some units in position. Hopefully he gets to the high ground before RSVP pushes up. He really wants to take that high ground position, and now coming in and scouting with these Phoenixes preemptively and picking off a Hydra or 2 is RSVP. Very well played by him. He knows where the enemy units are. He knows how many there are, and he can make the calculated decision on whether it's time to push or not. Probably going to wait for another cycle worth of units, but that could be his Achilles heel because those Spine Crawlers are now warped in and ready to go. It's going to make any kind of fighting here at the third incredibly difficult, and those Spine Crawlers just hit real hard against armored units.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly bloody. We're going to see Protoss blood and plasma draining on the creep if he decides to move into these Spine Crawlers. And, I wonder why he didn't just push. He saw the Crawler still morphing. He had a good 15 seconds to push up there and do some damage, maybe snipe a couple Crawlers, but he decides to fall back and wait for another cycle, and because of that, he gives up control of the map, loses his pylon, and allows the Zerg to expand immediately over to the fourth. And I feel now that darkFoRcE is in a much, much stronger position than he's ever been in any other game, and he's got a chance here to actually push, maybe force a cancel on this third Nexus as he did in game 1, and if he does that, man, RSVP is just going to be in so much trouble.
Yeah, if he's able to force another cancel, there is really no way for RSVP to recover from this. He absolutely has to keep his third base alive this game. It's do or die for him in regards to that. I think he will be able to, though, but there is quite a large push coming here from DarkFoRcE. I mean, we've got Roaches, we've got Lings, we've got Hydras.
Wall of cannons.
We have RSVP's characteristic wall of cannons. He's putting up the Great Wall of China in regards to Protoss, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He doesn't really have that great of a surface area there with the cannons. DarkFoRcE could come up the ramp with the entirety of his force, and those Force Phoenixes just sitting idle in RSVP's base for quite some time now. Probably going to want to make some use of those, and it looks like he's going to go for the main here, just bypassing the entire army at the third, and oh my goodness.
Wow, Payne, we have a pretty big engagement here. The Hydra is so unable to reach the Stalkers. RSVP has fallen back, using the Force Fields in conjunction, but he may lose the Forge. He loses the +2 weapons upgrade on his Forge. Beautiful snipe by DarkFoRcE, but in terms of the army, I think our RSVP is actually going to be able to slay the rest of the Hydras and Roaches. Now, you got to wonder, in the short run, I think RSVP wins, but in the long run, losing that +2 armor, +2 weapons upgrade is actually a lot more painful. So now, RSVP, it's his time to push and make something happen, and you're so right. He needs to do something with these Phoenixes, man.
Yeah, he absolutely needs to do something with those Phoenixes. Looks like they might get taken out here. If he realizes this, he could probably kill all three of those Hydras with the Phoenixes. I'm not sure why he's not killing those Hydras. Probably wants to use them as an offensive scouting unit, in front of the Stalkers, just to get a better feel for what's going on out on the field. And now burrowing those spine crawlers in the middle of the map is DarkFoRcE. What a safe position to put them in. They're going to cut the map in half and help him secure this fourth that he needs so bad to really push this game over the top and actually win it.
Beautiful defense by DarkFoRcE. That was a very critical time right there where he lost his entire army, was extremely vulnerable to an attack, but the replacement of these spine crawlers, uprooting them and placing them in the center, like you said, helping provide more static defense, allows DarkFoRcE to hold on to his fourth. And I have to say that trade definitely went in favor of DarkFoRcE because he was able to snipe that Forge, really delayed on the +2 weapons now.
Yeah, losing a Forge like that is never a good position to be in. Forge, NG Bay, Evolution Chamber, what have you, especially when the upgrade is almost complete. You just lose so much time, and
the Chrono Boost
and the money investment is just huge. So, at the end of the day, not too big of a deal. He'll be able to recover from it. He might even drop a second Forge and start upgrading both at the same time, but definitely not what he wanted to have happen there. So we do have two Colossus out on the field now. We have range on the way, and we have Void Ray starting to be produced. So it looks like RSVP is transitioning into that older school, late game style Void Ray Colossus, ball of death, pretty much. Throw some gateway units in there for good measure. A couple probes, maybe a changeling, whatever. Just like a ragtag group of
just
units.
an extra changeling for fun, just to scare the Zergs. Like, hey man, you can keep the changeling here, and you can see my scary Protoss death ball.
As long as there's something to keep those Colossus shielded, something to stand in front of the legs, it doesn't really matter. They got those flimsy little legs.
Little spider legs, right? So you got to keep those the underneath, the belly of the Colossus safe, and that's why you have all those fodder units.
Ooh, and we got some multiple drops going off here from DarkFoRcE. This is going to be very difficult for RSVP to deal with, but the main issue is that RSVP probably doesn't really care. He has so many probes and he has so many bases that 4 Roaches really aren't going to be the do or die difference maker here. They will be annoying. They will be able to harass and kill some pylons, but he's not doing any economic damage. He's not killing any probes, so I think largely these drops will be ineffective.
I think this was actually a diversion because now he's moving in with his main force, expecting RSVP to relocate the rest of his army, but that was not the case. RSVP so wisely keeping his army at this very vulnerable 4th Nexus that was coming up. It is at a very large battle right now. The cannons are coming in so useful to defend DarkFoRcE's attack, and back over at the main, it looks like the Roaches were taken care of by the Void Rays very easily, like you said. I think DarkFoRcE right there was trying to make a kind of diversionary tactic. And whoa, we have a Nidus Network that just finished. I don't know if you caught a glimpse of that, but I saw Nidus Network just finishing on the production tab. So guys, keep your eyes peeled. Pain user, keep your eyes peeled. Man.
I don't see where it is.
I swear I just saw Nidus Network.
Well,
I might
if I
be going
hear
old
one,
or going blind.
I hear one, I'll let you know. I mean, it's a pretty distinctive sound.
There it is.
There we go. Yeah. So where is the exit point? It is in the left-hand side, I believe, going up of his base in the main base, and this is going to be so difficult for RSVP to deal with. He's going to be having to constantly back and forth. heading back to his main, heading back to the front, and I'd love to see aTnDarKFoRcE juggle this with an attack to the front of RSVP's main. But man, the Zerglings are flooding in, but I feel like all these Zerglings are just going to die relatively quickly here and not really accomplish anything. Maybe he's just freeing up supply. There we go, now pulling out of there, and that Nidus is going to go down without doing hardly a thing.
I have to agree with you. I would have loved to see aTnDarKFoRcE make another two-pronged attack. In fact, look, RSVP relocated his entire army in response to the Nidus. That would have been a great time to try to snipe this 4th Nexus. And I wonder what he was just waiting. Maybe he was just hesitant, or I don't know, man.
I'm not sure what exactly. He does have those ultras. Is that kindness or is that armor 3? No, that's armor 3. So we do have armor 3 on the way, and we do have a greater spire on the way. So it looks like he's trying to set up enough supply so that he can morph several broodlords at once. He'll be able to get all those broodlords into the fray, you know, immediately after doing this, and then
he needs gas though, man.
Yeah, he certainly does need gas. That is the one thing he is absolutely starved for. He could try and take the gold. He does have relative control over the middle of the map on RSVP's side. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's going to be able to snipe off so many Void Rays. Get as many Void Rays as possible and get out of there. And that is a hit and run. Man, someone needs to jail aTnDarKFoRcE. That was a crime.
That was a real good one right there. He actually did a lot of damage for relatively nothing. It was almost for free. He was unscathed by that. Maybe lost a Corruptor, maybe 2, but killed so many resources worth of RSVP's Air Force. And those Void Rays are just so hard to reproduce and replenish and get back into your army. They're so expensive. You know, RSVP sitting on his 4th and 5th now, though, fully up and running. But we do have aTnDarKFoRcE pushing in very aggressively here. But these are all Corruptors. They're not Broodlords yet. I don't know why he's sending all these in. He's going to be able to pick off a few more air units, and then I feel like he really needs to get out of there. The majority of the army is coming in, and those Corruptors are flying in. They're going to take so much damage. He's going to lose almost all of his Corruptors, and those are such expensive units. I don't know if that was necessarily worth it for aTnDarKFoRcE. He's just going to have to pull back here and cut his losses.
Well, the thing is, he was able to kill off so many Colossus. I actually like that play, even though he lost a lot of Roaches and Corruptors. Yes, but he was able to keep that Colossus count down, and now he's making another Nidus worm. Wow. He is all over the map right now, and look, he's replenished his supply back to max. I love the play by aTnDarKFoRcE. I know we might have a little bit of disagreement here, but I think a Zerg player should always, in every possibility and capacity, try to trade with the Protoss army, especially trying to whittle down those Void Rays, and I love this attack, but RSVP, like any good Protoss, the Zealots are there.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that, by the way, but you have to pick and choose your fights. You can't just go in with that mentality. But he's doing a very good job with these Nidus networks. It's almost like a... Oh, wow. I don't think he even knows about those 2 links killing so many probes right there, but it's okay. He has more than enough Nexuses to build as many probes as he would like. But now sending through some Roaches here. I don't know if he wants to be doing this. He needs to hightail it out of there, and he will get those units out of there. This is a very Vibe-esque style of play versus Terran right here. Vibe loves his Nidus networks. I haven't quite seen it utilized this well against Protoss, but I think aTnDarKFoRcE is doing a great job. He's keeping RSVP on his toes, but keep in mind, RSVP is building up those Void Ray numbers. He's building up those Colossus numbers, and his army is just getting a little bit scary at this point.
Yeah, now we have to... Oh my god!
I heard it. I saw it. I seen it.
You seen it?
It's there.
I just saw it right now.
It is there.
What the...
Hey man, motherships are actually not as bad as people make them out to be.
I know they're not bad, but I was just, my jaw just hit the floor when I saw that thing pop out.
If it was a Kiwi-Kaki game though, neither of us would be shocked, right?
Right, absolutely, because Kiwi-Kaki is kind of the guy who started the revolution in Mothership, so to say.
The father of the Papa ship.
The father of the Yo Mama ship. Well, RSVP is now taking a page out of Kiwi-Kaki's book. He's gone for the Mothership. Very surprising play. aTnDarKFoRcE now has gone for Infestors. I like this. The reason why the Protoss Deathball, one of the reasons why it fell out of favor after a couple of months was because Infestors got buffed. And the Fungal Growth and Infested Terrans are so good against Void Rays. I don't know if this Void Ray Deathball is going to work as well, but it's going to come down to the Mothership. Your Mothership has been fungal, cannot move. Once again getting fungled again, leaving it vulnerable to the Hydras, and the Hydras take out the Mothership. Brilliant snipe by aTnDarKFoRcE, and we have more fungal growths going down. This is absolutely devastating the Void Ray Ball.
I still think that the Protoss ball might be enough to overcome this Zerg ball. The Broodlords are doing the best that they can. They're spitting Broodlings everywhere. They're taking out Stalkers left and right, but there are just so many Stalkers, and those Colossus were in the back the entire time, just shelling away. They were not able to be taken out, and that is the power of that late game toss unit composition right there. You are seeing it in its full effect, and now with these upgrades coming in, I believe he has air weapons, what now, 3 on the way?
Yeah.
Hold on, check one of those Void Rays real quick. I want to check. He does have...
We have
okay, so
one,
he has
2.
3 on the way, and I believe armor is on the way for his ground. So, and now aTnDarKFoRcE he's nidusing in the main at the same time as he's trying to take out this force that's pushing his 4th base, getting a ton of damage in. He's killing so many Void Rays and Colossus here. He's going to be able to hold that attack off, and there are Zerglings rampaging through the main right now. This is absolutely huge for DarKFoRcE. He might be able to make some kind of a turnaround here.
Oh my god, I have butterflies fluttering in my stomach right now, Pain. This is just an amazing display of StarCraft 2. DarKFoRcE holds off the attack, and he does an insane amount of damage inside the main of RSVP. If we pull up the workers kill tab now, at 40 workers killed for DarKFoRcE, RSVP is drastically behind in supply. He has to rebuild that Protoss army, which takes much longer than a Zerg, especially a Zerg that's on 6 bases. And RSVP, man, he needs his 5th. He needs his gold, but he's constantly having to deal with the Nidus Worms, which there are now 2 each at an extremity of the Protoss's bases, and this is just so difficult for
Nerd
Protosses
chills, man.
to deal
Nerd
with.
chills. What are these fluttering butterflies? It's nerd chills, dude. That's what those are. You just gotta come to peace with your inner nerd. Then you'll know what they are. But these exactly. These Hydras now harassing a little bit at the 4th. They're gonna be able to do just a little bit of annoyance. Not really sending anything major through the Nidus right now.
Yeah.
Just trying to harass and be as annoying as possible. But he is maxed out almost once again. He's back up to 170 after that last huge fight. So, hopefully he doesn't send anything through there. No, he's actually going to go through into the main here. One mothership has just popped out. It might be able to get intercepted by these Hydras. It's so slow moving. No, not realizing it's there. So DarKFoRcE not going to be able to kill that mothership, and it will live to fight another day.
It actually has a slow acceleration. That's what it is, 0 to 60 in 20 seconds. But once it gets going, it's a decently mobile unit.
It can make good track times.
Yeah, the mothership lives its life a quarter mile at a time.
All right.
RSVP here holds it off. I have to point out, though, that the Nidus Worms are really smart, but I have to commend DarKFoRcE even more for not making the mistake that so many Zerg players make, which is throwing and committing your entire army into a Nidus Worm, because that can cost you the game. What you want to do with Nidus Worms is exactly what DarKFoRcE is doing right now. Send in small armies, harass, pull back, hit and run, and constantly be keeping the Protoss player on his toes, and he's just doing that so brilliantly.
Yeah, he's able to shut down these expansions repeatedly. I think he's probably going to be able to get the Nexus here. No, those Stalkers are within range to come help out relatively quickly here. Although engaging at the top of the ramp, DarKFoRcE getting a pretty good angle there, able to take out several Stalkers, a few sentries. So not just losing his harassing force outright, and just manages to kill so many probes right there. Once again, just shutting down the mining of RSVP.
I love it. I love the attacks by DarKFoRcE. He's now gotten 66 probe kills. He's killed more probes than RSVP has rebuilt. RSVP only has 53 on the map right now, so you have to remember that means a lot of his minerals could have been more army. He's got 159 supply in army right now, but instead he's had to invest that into more and more probes, and that's always painful. RSVP, though, right now, Payne, he does have a pretty sizable army. He could definitely make something happen, but damn, DarKFoRcE is just chilling at the center of the map with the biggest artillery of Broodlords and Corruptors I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, I like the mass corruptor idea. There are so many Colossus and Void Rays out on the field. He needs more than enough, corruptor count to just deal with those and deal with them harshly. Yeah. Once he gets rid of all those units, he can restream in the Roach, the Roach Hydra, Roach Ling, whatever he needs to finish his opponent off. But in the main initial big fight, he just needs to clear all those air units out of the picture, and those fungals are definitely going to help out with that as well. So the key is just to get rid of those Void Rays, and then I think the rest is history.
Well, DarkFoRcE is also going to have to want to spread his air units out because that Mothership and the Vortex is going to actually be the defining spell, so to say, in the big battle that we're looking to see. Because if DarkFoRcE keeps his units clumped up like that, their air units very easily clump up in StarCraft 2, then the Vortex can easily take them out of the game. And that's something that DarkFoRcE is going to have to be very careful about. He's going to want to spread his units out, almost using like a magic box trick against Thor's, so to say, to keep his units away from the Mothership. Now, DarkFoRcE, once again, making attacks happen with the Zerglings. I like this play. I wonder why RSVP doesn't have some Templars in his army. Oh, no, actually he does. He has like 5 just hiding in there. So that's the Storm is also going to be really effective.
Storm will be effective and feedback will be effective. You know, both of the spells have their purpose in the late game in ZVP, so not surprised at all to see those High Templar coming out of him, right as you mentioned it, no less. Does have them mixed into his army, so he will probably have enough for a few Storms here in this final battle, but I can't help but think that this entire game is going to come down to this 1 point coming up here in a minute. Both players are getting poised. They're maneuvering their armies into the proper position. We have a ton of Broodlords and Corruptors coming into the main right now, and RSVP looking to commit with a few Zealots here, maybe just getting some scouting information, freeing up some supply, and probably going to be he's probably going to spend that on some units real quick there, but we do have the High Templar coming in for feedbacks right now as we speak, and it looks like DarkFoRcE doesn't want to have anything to do with that. He's going to fungal them.
Oh my God, Payne, he gets a fungal off on the Templar, weakening their shields, but they are not dead. You're right, he could have done some feedback action on the Infestors, or he could have stormed the Broodlords and Corruptors. It looks like we were like moments away. It was almost like the Cuban Missile Crisis, just moments away from absolute chaos. And then at the very last minute, diplomacy worked, and they decided to both pull back and live to fight another day.
This is true, and both players still actually not disarming. They're still poised. They're still ready to fight. They're still ready to go at it. And man, these Zerglings are just absolutely wrecking coLrsvp's fourth once again. Gonna lose so many probes here and forced to stop probe mining. He's probably gonna send a diversionary force. No, sending his entire force to the top right to deal with this. This would be a great window of opportunity for a counterattack from DarkFoRcE, and it looks like that's exactly what he's gonna do. He's bringing just about everything down the left side of the map. I don't know if RSVP will be able to get back there in time, although DarkFoRcE really isn't pressing the issue. He wants to take his time here. He doesn't want to make any mistakes. One thing he really needs to do is make sure that he denies RSVP that gold, and he needs to maintain that map control in the middle of the map where he is right now.
Yeah, he's just trying to use his Broodlords right now to pick off the Protoss production facilities. He is actually maybe going to lose some Infestors here. The Stalkers blinking underneath the Broodlords, making them vulnerable to dying. The Stalkers are sniping them down. We have massive spells going off as the Storm is whittling away the Corruptors all at half HP, and now here come the Void Rays, able to easily take out those Corruptors which were weakened by the Storm. Mothership not even to use Vortex.
Void Rays just absolutely annihilating those Corruptors. That was so many supply worth of Corruptors just instantly killed there. And good lord, these Void Rays are just absolutely massacring through DarkFoRcE, going through his side of the base right now, headed over to the third. There's virtually no anti-air to speak of. We have one queen. These Void Rays are all going to be charged up very soon here, and I just don't know what DarkFoRcE is going to be able to do to eventually get these Void Rays out of his base without taking out this fourth.
What's going on here, Pain User? RSVP making a great push with those Void Rays. He has superior upgrades, but on the production tab, there are 22 Corruptors on the way, but a little bit too late to save the gold hatchery. At the same time, we have Zerglings flooding in once again from another Nidus. RSVP here is just being kept running on all cylinders. DarkFoRcE is applying pressure wherever which way. He loses the gold hatchery, but look, he's pretty much mined it out. Really, he only needs the hatchery for the gas. So this hatchery is going to be easily replaceable. It's not that big of a loss to DarkFoRcE, and he has rebuilt his army to a point where it's actually greater than RSVP's. I like this position by DarkFoRcE. He actually is poised to maybe take this game.
Yeah, he is poised to maybe take this game. He has the gold up and running now, and he is up a base for the first time in this entire series, I believe. You know, he's always been on his back foot. DarkFoRcE has always had the upper hand, and now RSVP after that for big engagement right there. Oh, he's trying to run some links by into the main here, but RSVP 100% on top of things. I think he'll be more than capable of taking care of this. He has some great building positioning, able to hide his units behind the buildings and prevent them from getting fully surrounded. Oh, but the fourth base of RSVP going down in the meantime here. We've got units darting darting in and out of Nidus canals. We've got units running all over the map. This is a great ZVP on Metalopolis, and it looks like it is going to come down to the wire. He has rebuilt his Corruptor squad, just now getting some Broodlords, so we're going to have to see how this one pans out.
This is actually going to come down to a situation where the map may actually be mined out, Pain User, which is not a situation that occurs very often in StarCraft 2. When it does, it always breeds the most epic of games and pushes the players to their maximum limit in terms of skill and prowess. And we're going to be seeing a pretty interesting one here. DarkFoRcE now is catching up in the air upgrades, and he has a lot of Corruptors in the air right now. But once again, that Mothership has never used a spell as of yet, so it has enough energy for 2 Vortexes or Black Holes, whatever you want to call them. A Fungal Growth, though, really hitting those void counts, and oh my god, Vortex for the win, baby. The Corruptors, the Corruptors have all been sucked in. Another Vortex getting spawned over the Infestors, and all the Void Rays going down to Fungal Growth.
That was all Fungal Growth right there. He just chain fungal after fungal after fungal. Gonna go ahead and kill the Vortex here. You know what? That might actually have worked out better for DarkFoRcE right there. It gave him ample time to continue to Fungal Growth. There was no real window for RSV to pressure after that. I feel like what you should do is maybe leave half of the units outside of the Vortex, so you can kill half of them initially and then deal with the rest of them, not put them all in the force field and then leave their spellcasters alive so they can just destroy all your high-tech units. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense from that perspective, but still trying to make things work, still producing is RSVP. Has those Blink Stalkers now and a few more High Templar in the mix, producing quad Void Rays at a time here, and he really needs to make something happen to get back inside this game.
Yeah, I have to say that was a critical moment in the game, like you said before. The Vortex, though, I feel like if he had Vortex the Infestors, he would have been better served, rather than Vortexing the Corruptors first, because like you saw, like we all saw, RSVP realized that he was losing all his Void Rays to Fungals, and I don't know, man, that was just a really good play by DarkFoRcE. Once again, we have more Nidus Worms coming up from the south, and just an assault on RSVP's Gold Nexus here, completely stopping any mining from going on whatsoever. If we pull up the income tab, RSVP has no gas intake. No gas intake whatsoever. Which means he is not going to have much more Templars to speak of, and his main is now getting assaulted by Speedlings.
Well, one thing that RSVP does have going for him is that he does, well, he's losing all of his production right now. So
one thing he has going for him.
He has the gold a little bit secured, but DarkFoRcE is mining out at the same time. DarkFoRcE is actually pretty much mined out at the gold right now, but really DarkFoRcE has to be so confident right now. He's sitting back. Look at his minerals. He is sitting on an 1800 chip stack, not really worried about things. Going to be able to play this game for quite a bit longer. RSVP not quite as confident, sitting at about half the supply, 72 to 160 supply right now, and DarkFoRcE has the lead in tech. He has the lead in supply. He has more income. I mean, he's virtually ahead in every category right now, so it's only a matter of time before RSVP really realizes this and, you know, eventually bows out. And I think once he loses this Nexus at the gold, he will probably realize this. Maybe not.
I don't know. This is the last game, so he may stick it in there and try to win. The one thing here I'll say that he has going for him, the one small thing, is these Templars, which they are recyclable. They have energy that is constantly reusable. So, in theory, if he can constantly get a lot of good storms off and he places his spells wisely, he may be able to whittle the Zerg force down a little bit. Other than that, things are looking very, very bleak. He has half the army supply. He has no mining bases, really, no gas intake whatsoever. And, you know, those Niduses, Pain User, I think those Niduses were really what kept RSVP on his toes and never able to win this game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Niduses kept him on his back foot the whole time. You know, virtually had all of his attention focused on the Nidus canals. One at the north position, one at the south, then one back at the north. Kept changing up the positions. Was never sending his entire army through.
Confused, man.
Yeah, was never sending his entire army through. Was just sending small squads, just enough to harass and irritate RSVP, possibly kill some from probes. And there we have another one going up in the main. And what are we at now? You know, this is the 47-minute mark. So
I wonder if there's a way to see how many Niduses were built in this game.
I mean, I'm sure we could just go through the build tab real quick and just count them off. Well, not yet. I mean, once the game's over.
Like, where's the Nidus tab? Blizzard, implement a Nidus tab now. I have to say there had to be at least 10 to 15 Niduses this game.
That would be interesting if they added Nidus as a unit that you construct that shows up on the units tab. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Hey, hopefully
you
Blizzard
hear our
listens.
please?
Blizzard.
No, they don't. We've already been here many times before, haven't we? I've been here.
We have to write them an official letter. The fans need to get out there and tell them what we say. Maybe one day. Well, DarkFoRcE
Wow,
here.
look at that.
Yeah, he has got a ball. It's called the Mega Corruptor when you stack them up like that.
The Sentinels from the Matrix is what that is. Sentinels from the Matrix just all balling together right there and slithering around, following their Broodlord counterparts. The overseers that are the overseers in the air anyway. They dominate the skies, and they have been continuing to dominate the skies all game long. And I'm not sure what the holdup is for DarkFoRcE right now. He has more than enough, I feel like, to deal with what RSVP has, slowly creeping across the map with his spine crawlers and a few spore crawlers. Looks like he's gonna.
He's taking a page out of your book, Payne. He's in this slow tank move out.
Yeah,
but rather than tanks, it's crawlers.
Yeah, with tanks, it's great. Oh, canceling that. Nexus immediately sees that he is on his way back. DarkFoRcE just not allowing him to have this gold expansion, and I feel like it is so important for RSVP to have that right now. I don't know what the holdup is, though. Neither player willing to commit here.
I think DarkFoRcE really is not only taking a page out of your book, he's taking a page out of Artosis's book. Went ahead. Get further ahead.
Yeah, but there's nothing he can really do right now to get further ahead.
Yeah. Short of expanding over here. Or
maybe to the opposite gold. He might be able to swing that.
Which he is.
Yeah.
He is going to be going for the opposite gold here. I really think he's just maybe doesn't want to risk losing the game to some bad play or bad move by him, so he's just being very conservative right now. I almost feel like, in a way, it almost might be like a taunt. He's just like moving crawlers across the map.
Well, what he's doing right now is actually very smart. He's just zerging the gold, if you will. Just bringing all of his units in. Going to try and get some units on the high ground there. Has some spine crawler support. Has some spore crawler support. Really just increasing his odds of winning the fight by more and more every time he brings up one of those defensive structures. And look to see him probably secure this gold in a little bit here. And with that, secure the game.
Yeah. Now, I would say RSVP would have a chance if he had some gas intake, because what a Protoss player wants to do in this spot is max out and then basically hope to win, even though he's at a huge disadvantage. But as it stands, RSVP has no minerals to max out with. He has no gas to max out. He can't do any kind of a Dark Templar switch, which a lot of Protoss players like to do when they're backed up against the wall. So really, I feel like he should just push with what he's got. He's got probes, he's got zealots, some void rays, and high templar. Make a push, try to do what you can, and valiantly bow out. And I think he is going to do that right now, and we'll see what happens.
And it looks like he is going all out here. RSVP coming in with everything. This is Pickett's charge. It's the last of the last. Trying to kill a few corruptors here. And man, those corruptors just absolutely eating their way through everything in the air. And GG is called by coLrsvp. DarkFoRcE taking that series 2-1. What an epic third game. 52 minutes on Metalopolis. Neither player really willing to commit right there. Taking their sweet time. And just a great game in general. Real back and forth ZVP with tons of Nidus networks, a lot of harass on DarkFoRcE's part. So yeah, well played to DarkFoRcE. Congratulations, and we will see him advancing one round in the tournament.
All right, guys. So thanks a lot for tuning in. This is once again HD and Payne User. If you guys enjoy our cast, make sure to tweet it or shout it out to your friends. And once again, Payne User, why don't you give out a little bit of your links?
You can find me at twitter.com/PayneUser, and you can YouTube me at youtube.com/StratBunker.
All right, and my link, youtube.com/HDStarcraft. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. This is HD and Payne signing out.